Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
Oh, it's. Oh. I know he didn't do it, baby.
Hold on a second. Whoa. Where you going?
No, I'm about to go make these drop offs.
What up? What up? Y'all kind of bobbing my head to the intro. You know,
Right?
I like how we put that together. But anyway,
Because it's your beat.
Right?
I was one of them late night sessions, just like, oh, this content right here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me put them drums on that little chop. But yeah, for those who don't know me, if this is your first time tapping into the Black Currency Podcast, I am Bradley DLO Thomas. By day, I'm a marketing strategist at a biotechnology company. And by night, I am a passionate producer / writer MC. And I'll pass the mic.
Hey, what's up? This is your girl, Opal Elisa. By day, Director of Multicultural Business Strategy for a financial company. And by night, by passion, by everything else, I am a poet, MC, and author.
What's going on? It's your boy Corey Dashed Up Whitmore. Yeah, I'm still a little sick, sound a little nasally. I'm still doing the Media 22, Radio 22, Studio 22 thing. And I think right now that's all I got because I just put in my resignation letter.
Woo! Mogul.
Drop the mic.
Okay.
Keep it moving.
Time to get it.
Gotta do what you gotta
For
do.
real though, okay? For real.
Time these people in Madison be tripping.
Yes.
Man, I already know.
Yeah. So, I can get into what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna reflect on some of our past personal experiences with money that some of y'all might be able to relate to. And if you do relate to it, there is a way out to change your financial situation. So usually I start the song off, but this time
remix.
I think I'm bring it to the trailer. You know what I'm saying? To Mr. Slash, I do everything. You know what I'm saying? Every podcast. I'm in the studio, I'm still making beats, I'm still doing shows, I'm still building up the community the best way I know how. So Corey, are there any things, any topics that you want to share with the people related to finances that have been like stepping stones for you to become a better person financially?
Well, I think, I want to use something from my entrepreneurial background when I had my first business, Deuce Entertainment, but it really applies to finances, personal finances and stuff across the board. For those that don't know, I started a small music label in Milwaukee, Wisconsin called Deuce Entertainment as a LLC. Started in 2005. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought I'd be the next Dame Dash or something.
You had the vision. The vision.
But man, I think I felt I had something to prove. But financially, especially with a lot of businesses and a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck, like you're not doing a lot of future planning. And what I found ourselves doing, and happens in the personal, and I know that some people bring this up, as soon as you get it, as soon as you would get money coming in, money would go out. As soon as money came in, money would go out. And it took me some years in really getting into my second business, Media 22, before I was able to learn to do enough financial planning to basically, as we talked about in the first episode, having like a rainy day fund. Because, there's always something that comes up, something that's going to happen that's going to be not anticipated, not planned. And can have really an impact and set you back if you financially can't handle what may occur, whether it be something happens with the car, whether it be, storms, tornadoes. I mean, anything, stuff can happen. In the music realm, what happened was we had, in 2008, we were experiencing like a lot of growth, as far as having more people come on board, more people being able to access us. Now we're starting to go out of town finally and like perform and do all these things. But financially, we weren't stable enough. I remember, I think we were coming home from, I want to say, a show in like Green Bay or Appleton or something.
Yeah.
Got into an accident. Luckily everybody was okay, but it was a late drive back.
Yeah.
And car was wrecked. I mean, car was in bad shape. And not having anything set aside because we had basically spent our last dollar in the budget and getting up there doing the show. Like it was something that derailed us for a while. So something that we couldn't, something that we didn't plan for, some of course you don't expect, but not setting aside enough money to be able to overcome these things set us back as a label and as a business. And what I've tried to do moving forward in that case, especially with Media 22, is at least, and I was talking about this with somebody because we were talking about venues and we were talking about money and if we were to get the venue and stuff like that. And I told bro, and it was like a light bulb in my head. I'm like, yo, if we ain't if we don't have at least 2-3 months rent wise, expense wise already in the bank, like I'm not even making that move.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the same way now with the business with Media 22, knowing that if something happens for whatever reason, or we're I don't know, something crazy happens with the equipment, or everything blows or something like that, and in the socket or something, we lose all equipment, or we can't record or do podcasts for a month, but we have enough set to the side to still be sustainable. And so we've tried to operate as a 2-month, if not 3-month ahead, just so that we have reserves, just so we have that rainy day. The other thing, which I know DLO may frown at, but because
okay, I'm listening.
Investment in stocks, if for whatever reason I had to pull something out for a month to maybe catch up on if I have rent or something like that, in which I have another separate reserve from just what we're setting aside for rent and expenses moving forward. Right. Because you never know what your health is going to be. You never know what catastrophe, what could possibly happen. And to always try and set yourself up in the entrepreneurial world, but definitely in the personal finances world, especially when you're dealing with family.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
So the ability now to be in a place to say, hey, if something goes crazy, I still have a month, 2 months worth to still run this business, to get back on my feet if something happens, or if I lose an employee or something, have them get back on their feet, and also be able to pull from another reserve, something I would reluctantly want to pull from, but still have something set up in stocks. It's like creating those safety baskets for you. To be able to do things. There may be things I have to pull out of the business because something personally may happen, but then I still have someplace else to go. So, my lesson for folks, and I'm sure you guys are going to echo a lot of this too, is really, you got to start setting yourself up in that rainy day fund. It's getting out of the 24-hour thought process and getting more into the looking into the future thought process, which is hard because, and many times myself, I was like that. I was in survival mode. So my brain was only operating in 24 hours.
Yeah.
You got to get your brain operating in the 48, 72, 1 week, 2 week, 1 month. It's a process. But if you're able to really start to train your brain and do those things, you'll be some of those bad luck things and some of those hits that everybody takes in life. That's just what life is. You're better to able to absorb them and still move forward. And I think that's important in anything financial. Like I said, whether it's business or whether it's, entrepreneurial.
Were you doing this? Were you doing this at the same time you were working a job, or were you full time just running this business?
No, I was doing it while I was working a job. So in the beginning, siphoning off some of that money from that paycheck to go to stocks and things of that sort was crucial, and really being able to do that.
I bet.
Things service-based sometimes can be slow, and especially moving back here, but it's been so long, like it takes time to build up networks and clienteles. I mean, networks.
Yeah.
So if you come to a new place, you don't know nobody, you can't expect to be bringing in, so much money. You got to go and spend time in the community and build those relationships and things of that sort. People got to build trust with you, build confidence in that what you offering is something that's worth value.
Facts.
Facts on facts. Yeah. So I definitely got some stuff to add to that. But first, with the deuce, I always wanted to know where does the deuce and 22 come from? Is that like a basketball number, or what's that come from for you?
So it's two things. It was my basketball number in high school, but the first studio was on 22nd and Kilbourne.
Ah, sweet. That's dope.
Yeah. So that's
homage. I love that.
22.
Nice. Yeah, that's fire. Yeah, so I feel what you're saying. What you are talking about with the business, like I did that with my life, right? So I was the same way, and for sure it comes from that survival mode, but like that's something that you can look back and see. But while you're in it, you're not thinking like that, right? For me, it was like thinking like reward, right? First, it was like, let me get to a point where I can pay the bills on time. Because I would not say for most of my life, I was paycheck to paycheck. I was paycheck to the Wednesday before the Friday paycheck, right? Like it was like 2 days before I was running. I can tell you right now, Woodman's on the west side. If you ain't got no money, this is not advice. But let me disclaim that right now. Woodman's like is one of the rare places you could still in recent years like write a check for gas, right? So if I would write a check on Wednesday after 3 p.m., I knew it would not go through until after Friday when my direct deposit would come back. So I say all that to just say that that's how broke I was, less than paycheck to paycheck. And so once you get from paycheck to paycheck and then you're actually like okay to pay the bills, right? So maybe it's $20 left in the account when the direct deposit hits for the next 2 weeks. I was in the mentality of like, I make 40,000, I spend 40,000. Okay, now I make 50,000, I spend 50,000. Make 100,000, spend 100,000. Like, did not know that that's not what you do, right? Because that's just how, like you said, that 24-hour living. That's exactly how that was for me. So it was totally a mindset when we talk about books. That's why I always bring up the Jen Sincero book, You Are a Badass, because that was one of the first things that made me like, oh, I got to think about this a little bit differently. And then really think about, just like you said, like it's not living above your means, right? Because I think once you get to a place, you think, okay, this is my means now, and I'm supposed to spend all that. And that's not what wealthy people do. They don't spend all of their money. They don't spend hardly any of their money once they get to, an upper echelon. Yeah. But I was the same way. So how you were with business, I was like that with myself. And I think that is like, it's so dangerous. Like, luckily nothing like big happened that set me up, but it did get me in trouble, as I shared, on the earlier episode 2. I had to use payday lenders, right? Because I did not have that cushion. So I work with credit unions a lot, and we share the stat that the majority of Americans don't have $400 to help with an emergency. And that lack of not having $400, as you say, Corey, when the car breaks down, you got a medical bill, it'll just set everything off, right? Yep. Right. Then you're negative. You got bank fees on top of that. Can't pay the next bill. Now the car can't take you to work, right? Now you're missing wages, and it just can spiral people into just a hole that you feel like you can't get out of. So I feel that 100%. So I think, just as you say, folks doing that with businesses in your experience, also like with our lives, right? And really just changing that mentality to be like, you do not and should not spend all you make, personal or with business. Some of that has to be saved, and some of it has to be really truly invested now to be able to beat inflation, which is like we're not old enough to have seen inflation like this before, right? So this is a whole new territory, and it could just probably, I don't know, will get worse before it gets better.
Right.
Yeah. So Opal, I can relate. I can definitely relate to what you were saying. What was like what was like that moment of clarity for you when you was like, yo, this shit ain't like I gotta I gotta change something
Yeah.
around, for the better. Like
Yeah.
was there an
It was,
event that
you
happened where
know,
you were like, this no. Mhm.
it was like it was two things, I think. One was just that, like, finally feeling like I was making a good living, but not feeling like I was making a good living because I didn't feel like I had that
Uh,
safety. And I would say what changed the most is like being around people who were better with money, right?
Mm.
Being around people who were used to making higher incomes and seeing how they were. Like, it's like the cliches that you hear, like the richest person in the room got on the oldest shoes, and really starting to see doesn't have the best car, right? That's pulling up,
Mhm.
and really being able to see, like, okay, this is what they're buying. It's more peace of mind in future versus something shiny and new. So for me, it had a lot to do with just adding new people to my circle and being around new folks, and um, not switching up, but being enhanced by and seeing how other folks are living. Because I think that you just don't know what you don't know, right? Like,
Right.
I've
right.
shared before my background
Mhm.
from Wexford Ridge, forever, low income neighborhood. And my mom was on welfare and then disability. So that's a check come every month and a check spent every month. And that's all I knew.
Mhm.
So until you get around people who are spending their money differently, and really seeing that that's not just something people say, that's not just an ideal, but that's like how people live, I think
Right.
that really changed my aspirations for things and kind of how I moved with stuff.
That's what's
Right.
up. Yeah, I can relate to both of y'all stories. Particularly in my life with with dealing with money, just more about like handling money.
Mm.
Um and like you said, like living a lifestyle that makes you feel good, but doesn't really make you feel good. What are you trying to purchase this American dream when in reality nobody nobody has that money in the bank for that emergency? And
Yeah.
Right.
that's like super important for me. It was, when I graduated from college in my first job, um, I had never really seen my own money like in my pocket coming in. So it was like, yo, like I thought $42,000 to me was just like that, man, that's a lot of money, And to somebody it is a lot of money if you know how, especially if you know how to manage it and do
Mhm.
the right thing with it, but I didn't. So I just got happy with that number. And I remember I went to Chicago. I bought some like $150 shoes. I went to
Hmm.
I got a nice little shirt, you know what I'm saying? Like me and my at the time, the fiance, we went out and got a whole bunch of food and kicked it all in Chicago, right? And this is when I didn't understand credit either. So when you get more money, people gonna give you more credit. So you get more credit, and
Yeah.
then you live in this lifestyle. I didn't understand that I can't go over 30% of my credit. I didn't understand like the utilization. I didn't get any of it. So eventually, all that stuff caught up to me, and I was just I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, yeah, there's a store right here. I got to check. I'm gonna go get some money. I know I'm gonna get paid on Friday, so I'll just get the money now. But these payday lending stores are basically robbing people,
Mm.
and making you pay astronomical amounts of interest. So I got into a situation where it was like, man, I had like no lie, I had like a loan at like damn near every store in Madison. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
I would just take out one to literally pay off the other, to take out another one to pay off the other, to pay off the other.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't get it because eventually I had to sit down and see like where is all my money going? How much money am I really bringing in? That's another thing I think people don't really understand
Mm.
either is what the taxes and the benefits are going to take
Great.
out of your
Right.
paycheck.
Yes.
So when someone tells you $100,000, you probably bringing home like 70,
Hmm.
Right.
or 70 to 60, 60 to 65% of what that check is, depending on how your stuff is set up and how much exemptions you have coming out of your money. So that was really a learning point for me in reading books too,
Mm.
and actually running businesses. So I ran a network marketing business for some time, and just being around people who were more business minded kind of
Mhm.
started teaching me
That's
about
good.
these books. and teaching me how to do all these things, you know, because I grew up pretty privileged, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like my, you know, I told y'all earlier in the episode, my dad was doing real estate, so I could just pop in and work for him, you know, and I was just went around with money. But you know what I'm saying? But you think that's life. Like, you know, you don't understand that he didn't set up a whole system for you. And like, you know, he's worked his ass off to get here. You're young, you know. I mean, what are you gonna do? You gonna go in the club, you gonna throw it off, you gonna get some drinks, you know, you're gonna buy some clothes, you know, you're gonna waste it instead of investing it.
Right. Man, just hearing these stories, and like I can't. The thing that shines through, and we all said it, is environment. Like when I think back to being in Milwaukee and having like the record label thing, and ultimately, you know, feeling like, man, this is, I want to do music, but I don't want to do it in this way. You know, I think that environment changed and created other opportunities. Me coming here to Madison and hooking up with like Karen and UCAN and doing things with them opened up so many other possibilities to how revenue can come in and how different things can happen, and how you can create programming, things like that. If I had stayed in Milwaukee, I don't know if I would have been able to see what Media 22 could be. Which is crazy. And that's what was going in my head, like as you guys were speaking and talk about influence of environment and people around you and being able to see different things. Like, I don't think I would have seen what Media 22 is today if I would have stayed there in that same environment. I had to be around different people doing different things. And even though that was from a nonprofit perspective, it showed me different things that I wouldn't have gotten exposed having my head down, being in the grind. I just didn't have other people around me that were showing me different things.
Right.
For me to expand my knowledge base and say, you know what? No, I should actually approach it like this. I should twist it like this. And then it just created all those other possibilities. And even thinking about like my pops was entrepreneurial. So like, hey, remember when Amway was a thing? I don't know.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I know people who doing it right now. I still catch some shit from them every now and then. I mean,
we had the meetings at the house
every
once in a while. He was messing with property for a little bit in Pennsylvania and stuff like that. So for me to come out like after college and say, "Yo, I want to start my own business," that had to come from somewhere. You got to see it. Yeah. And just how much that can change your trajectory. So, you know, for people that are listening that say, hey, I may not have that group, you got to go out and find that group.
Yeah, true.
If you want to change the trajectory of where things are going, if you feel like things are leveling off or flattening off, you need to go and find those people. Be a fly on the wall.
Right.
Let me just sit in. Like, I remember when I first came to those meetings, I didn't say nothing in the first 3 months because I didn't know everything that was going on. I'm trying to figure out, okay, this is how y'all do things. Oh, you do this. Okay. I'm just coming from the Boys and Girls Club. This is all brand new. This is all brand new. Like I know music. I know how to, you know, do those things, but to expand it upon that and to make it even bigger, I still get to do music, but now it's all these other facets as well. Like I would have gotten that without that exposure.
Right.
Yeah, that's so like that point you bring up, Corey, just like it's just that thing, like no one does it alone, right? You can't. And I think about like you brought up UCAN, like UCAN is made up of, and all the folks they're affiliated with, of people who are doing their own thing, right? Are really good at their own thing, can self-sustain, but the power, right? When I think about like Mad Lit, like that, like what? Like I'm telling you, like I did part of I did a piece in Mad Lit, and let me tell you, I did not expect that big old stage. I started walking down towards the square, and I said, I know this is not that. Yeah. But that is like, and I'm from Madison, and we've been doing music in Madison. I've been doing music with DLO in Madison for, let's age ourselves, 20 years. We're coming up on 20 years here, right? I ain't never in my life seen no stage like that put on by no black folks, put on by artists at that, right? Everybody who's an artist, ain't no way one of us, maybe paying one, but other than that, ain't no way one of us, right, could have got a stage like that with the production, with the advertisement, with the merch, with everything just set up. And I just think that that's the power. And to me, that of people working together. And to me, that was also a mind shift, just like the money and not living day to day. It's also like not doing it by yourself, because I think when you're talented, be it art or be it finance, be it anything, you've probably grinded by yourself for a grip, right? You probably been the one doing it, and to have to give that trust and connect with folks. But that's the only way to grow. So I feel that 100%, because that was for me too. Like you gotta collab and find your people and let them teach you, because that to me too is the only way. So much more power when you're connected with folks, because otherwise maybe somebody will find your website, maybe they'll trust you off social media, but probably not. You're gonna have to, somebody gonna have to vouch for you for somebody to run some money your way.
Yeah, that's facts right there. Yeah, we need each other. We need each other, and I think that's what a lot of people just they're afraid, because if you ask for help, you might come across as weak, or you incompetent, when in reality it's like you're never gonna, you shouldn't be a jack of all trades. It's not really healthy to be one. You should really be a master of a few, but then reach out to someone else that's better than you at something, in order for you to grow. Otherwise, it's just gonna be harder. But yeah, that's a hard lesson, Opal. I know what you mean. Like just putting your nose down. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Oh, I gave it. I passed you the ball. You dropped it. All right, I'm gonna just take it to the hole next time. Like, I'm gonna take the ball out of bounds, pass it to myself, go up the court. Set my own pick. Like you can't do all this.
But I think the other part of it, and maybe and I think and because I know your stories, I know this is part of it. But I just want to make sure to point out that part of the time of growth, especially for me personally, in trying to, when I was transitioning between business, was kind of when I was getting close to the end of the label thing. I had thrusted myself into everything self-improvement. And that's where me as a person that has hated reading for as long as I've been asked to do it, thrusted myself into those things and started learning a lot of those concepts. Like for me, Les Brown is who really kicked it off. And I started getting into Zig Ziglar. Then I started looking into Tony Robbins, and then it just avalanched from there. And I don't even think I can tell you what got me to that point, because my mom would actually be playing Les Brown, and I'd be like, turn that mess off. Like I wasn't trying to hear it in the car, because she'd have the tape. She'd put in the tape. It's like, you the maker or Les Brown?
You.
All right, let's throw in Sweet Love again. But she would play it, and I didn't have the capacity for it. But something tipped off where I had grabbed one, and then I was like, oh man, what else does he have? Oh man, what else would he have? Oh man, what else do he have? Hey, yo, Pops, you still got them tapes out there? I gotta find a tape player. But if I know you got all that stuff in that back room that you ain't doing nothing with. It's probably back there if you find them. See them. And then I latched on to this, because all these guys quote each other. Like in their motivational speeches, it's so and so said that, and it's like, ooh, I need to check out who so and so is too. And it just avalanched it, and it's weird for release in my story, like that paralleled, the transition between that business to this business in doing more, and I think my brain being more open to different possibilities of how this can be sustainable. With the record label thing, I think we really limited ourselves, saying, well, it's either this, or this. Then these are the possibilities, and we got to keep doing this. Where when we talk about revenue streams, it's a multitude of things. It is multiple things that billionaires, trillionaires need just for it to be sustainable. So as a person that's just on the come up, you can't limit yourself to saying, I got the check, and then I got this, and then I'll be good. No, it's and that's what I hope people have gotten from from some of these episodes is that here are an option. Here's a menu of things that you can choose from to really try to create all those revenue streams. But for me, and I definitely want to hear what you guys, have to say, that self improvement binge, and I can't call it a binge because I'm still doing it, really is what opened up the floodgates for me.
I love that. And shout out to Tony Robbins. I'm a fan of his too. His change your state. I use that every time. If I got to speak for work, if I'm doing a performance, he's like, change your state. You'll find me somewhere but backstage, going like this. Because he's on point. I can relate to that, Corey, because I grew up in my family. I was made fun of all the time because I've been reading self-help books since I was a teenager, like legit, would make fun of me, like, what's wrong with you? And I feel like for me, it's Tony Robbins, it's Ayanna Van Zandt, Russell Simmons has been huge to me, especially with the money and the art. Just like, and I continue to read a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of people go to spiritual for me too, right? So I also read a lot of TD Jakes. I know Joe Osteen has some controversy, but that man also got some good words. Please believe me, I've read all of his books too. And I feel like it is that piece of like, and no matter who you read, finance is a piece because you have to have, no matter who it is, because you've got to have that stability from which to grow. You've got to have that foundation in that piece. And I also feel like that getting made fun of, like, you're going to have to do that. You got to grow through that, and you got to be solid and okay with being different if you want to do something different. That's always been a theme that I've seen from those who I follow and in myself too. Like, if you actually want to change something, get some thick skin because you're going to look weird, right? You're going to look different. And I feel like that with entrepreneurship too. How do y'all feel? A really question for y'all in the Black community, like, right? I will say the PG version, but entrepreneur Negro, okay? Right? Right? We don't value it. Like, how do y'all feel about that? Because I feel like if you tell somebody you starting a business, oh, you a loser, or what do he do? Oh, he got his own business. Oh, he broke, he ain't got no job, right? Like, that's what comes up. So do y'all feel like our culture, and I feel like it's changing, but have y'all felt that too, that our culture has looked down upon, having, trying to have your own versus like just go to school, just get a good job, just get a state job and keep it moving?
Yeah. I think anytime you a Black person and you're trying to do something new and unique that doesn't fit into what they have a mold for you, like this vision that they have for you, they'll start to put you down or call you weird. Since you in the books, it wasn't cool to be a nerd. That's the kind of environment that I grew up in. So it was just like it's weird because I don't see other cultures really doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Matter of fact, they'll rather pay a higher price to deal with someone that looks like them, that's from the same culture, is from the same neighborhood. Our dollar doesn't circulate in our neighborhood. It only goes like one time, then we spending it, to some other person. But if we open up that same shop, no one would come in because, they got a problem with, the way the floor look or the artwork in there. It's like, it's all these weird excuses. So yeah, I definitely feel like that's an issue. But I wanted to kind of go back to the self-improvement. Like, I actually feel weird if I'm not reading a book now or listening to something like, to get my mindset straight. One of the self-improvement books that I actually love is the Bible, man. Like, I've read the Bible and the whole thing. So, and all the stuff, a lot of the stuff in the Bible, if you listen to the quotes, it connects right back to all of the personal development that you're hearing from Les Brown, from Zig Ziglar, from another one is for me. I really love Jim Rohn. Another one for just straight mind state raw is just David Goggins. Like, that's my guy. I love his can't hurt me mentality. So it's just a part of me now. Like, if I'm, I listen to audio like I used to listen to Redman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wake up.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, this is my joint, And so I'm trying to get my daughter into it. And I know right now she like, oh, Dad, like, that's kind of whack. Why don't you put some music on, put some Doja Cat or something on, or say somebody else on, right? I'm like, all right, that's cool. At least I'm gonna infect you. I'm gonna infect you with this personal development, because eventually you're gonna hear it again, and you're gonna be like, damn, wait a minute. Pops already showed me that. He showed me that for a reason.
Right.
So it's like, you know, people can hear, but until they're ready to listen, ain't nothing gonna change.
Right. Yeah, I think you know that goes to that environment, and sometimes you're just not ready.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're presented information, and you just at that time you can't absorb it. But then you absorb it later, and you're like, I got it. That's what I should have been doing, and things of that sort.
Yeah.
And going back to the entrepreneurial thing, like it's been weird, and I wonder where that is, because with everything going on in the world, I feel like that it's almost like an issue of. It's weird that we had that, you know, back in the day we had there's an era where around the country there was all these great cities that had a lot of black businesses, great thriving black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I think of my mom's neighborhood, Inslee, which is right outside Birmingham, Alabama. And when I look at the pictures and how beautiful it was, and how they could go to the corner stores and they were all black owned, and going back and seeing that it's bars up, boarded, broken windows, and it's like I wonder if part of the things that many of those business owners had to go through, not mentioning Black Wall Street now, you know, parents felt it was safer to tell kids to say, "Hey, stick in the books, get into something that's safe."
It's deep.
Because of the trauma incurred from those who did step out to be entrepreneurial and the things that they had to go through. I wonder if that feeds into that, because
that's a word.
Because my mom was like, but you know, my dad was doing entrepreneurial thing. My mom was like, stick to the books, get up, you know, get a steady job, da 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 da. And my, you know, I tried that, but that just hasn't been my fit. That's just not how I've been made. But I wonder if, from what she's seen, that everyone is going to be protective of their child.
That's true.
Woo.
That's a great point, Corey.
That's a whole other episode right there.
Episode. This is the route for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it there. But it plays in
man. I wish I had more time, because I really would like to dig into that now. I'm like, man, you didn't went into a whole nother zone with that one, yo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
So deep.
Well, that was a good conversation, y'all. Like always. I feel like we always spark each other's minds, and I hope that someone listening, I hope this sparks you as well. To get into like that mindset, to get into that personal development, to look at your mistakes and look at those as stepping stones, as hey, you can get out of that situation. It's just a matter of you getting around the right people in the right environment.
Right. 110%.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Make sure to follow us. We on IG, of course, Black Currency Podcast. Check out all the videos, including this one, at YouTube if you're watching it someplace else. We're always up on myradio22.com/Black Currency Podcast. You can see it all if you hit the link tree, though. You can get it all and the articles. It is what it is. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Much love. Make sure to tune in for our next backstage pass. These are kind of slick.
Yeah.
It is definitely a part 2 to this, Corey.
Oh yeah.
That's part 2.
Yeah, he went to another universe, so we got to think inside of the mind of Corey.
Word. That's what's up, y'all. All right, y'all. Have a good one. All right, to our listeners, have a great one. We'll see you next episode.
Peace.
Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
I know he didn't do it, baby.
Whoa, where you going?
No, I'm about to go make these drop balls.